William, hopefully your favorite videographer from Two Hats Publishing. I welcome you to another Two Hats special of community events. Let's look in and see what's really happening.
Both of these guys.
Interview with Harvey Milk, The Calendar, San Francisco's free gay paper, August 17th, 1973.
It was Saturday morning. Assignment, Harvey Milk, outspoken gay candidate of the Board of Supervisors. The place, his apartment. First impression, a rush of invigorating air. Gemini, it figured. We sat at the kitchen table talking.
I'm 43, and I can do one of two things. I can concentrate on a lot of money while I enjoy perhaps another 10 years of an active gay life. Then, at 53, I can just coast, call the whole thing good. After all, I've had a lot of fun, fantastic experiences. Or, I can get involved and do something about all the things that I think are wrong in our society. I've got to fight, not just for me, but for my lover and eventually his lover, whoever he is after that. I've got to fight for them too.
I'd like to know a little bit more about your past, who you've been. He smiled. I knew he would like to talk about that. I could see that he felt good about what he had done.
I was born on May 22nd, 1930, about 20 miles outside of New York City on Long Island in a little fishing village. When I was 12, I found out that religion was phony or hypocritical. At 14, I found out I was a homosexual. That almost brought me back into religion because I went to a rabbi and I told him. The rabbi said something to me that really stuck. He said,
"You shouldn't be concerned about what people said to you about how you lived your life, as long as you felt you were living it right. People spend more time legislating morality and telling people how to spend their lives rather than how to make life more enjoyable."
About the present situation and his campaign, he said,
maybe one day people will do it legally. Maybe they'll accept us. Meanwhile, I'm going out for the straight vote as well as the gay. Some of my best friends are straight.
The Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence is a communal order of 21st century nuns devoted to the queer community. The Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence started in 1979 in the Castro district of San Francisco with our vow to proclamate omniversal joy and expiate stigmatic guilt. We strive to respect the individualities of others and to unite our community with a message of hope and peace. The Sisters have always had a great respect and admiration for Harvey Milk. So much so that in September 1987, Harvey Milk became our first saint. A saint is an individual who is recognized for their great works in the community and selfless acts. It is in the spirit of community, unity, and compassion that we gather here today. I would ask that you all join hands and join us in this invocation. Spirits of the earth, bless us with reliability, ambitious, and respectfulness. Spirits of the air, fill us with clarity, joy, and light. Spirits of fire, grace us with passion, courage, and daring. Spirits of water, bless us with mercy, forgiveness, and compassion. Just as these elements, all unique and all different, join to create life and beauty, we unite here today, each of us unique, individual, and amazing. we unite to create a body of hope and love, bound by courage, love, and the supportive community. May you be blessed, may you always be surrounded by love, and may your light always shine against the shadows of injustice. Blessed be.
Column from the Bay Area Reporter called Reactionary Beer, March 18th, 1976.
This past week, there was a fundraising event for aid to some Native Americans. Attending was a cross-section of San Francisco. Some of our local unions are working with neighborhood associations. Some local unions lobbied for gay rights last year in Sacramento. The list goes on and intertwines. In issue after issue, we see different groups coming to the aid of others. The bridges between the many communities and people of the city are being built, maybe out of necessity, but the exciting thing is that they are being built. The combined effort can put an end to the insensitivity of government. Several years ago, the gay community took a step in working for others in the fight. In reality, our fight too, by participating in boycott against Coors beer. Last week, a woman came in my store who had just driven across the nation. Like many others, she stopped off at a coal plant in Golden, Colorado. She stopped there, like many people from the East. Coors has some sort of mystique. She was excited, talking of taking the tour. Then she drifted off the tour and her eyes was open. She is now a vocal part of the boycott. Here is a way that the gay community could show its economic power. It is not too hard to switch brands of beer. If the gay community even continues, even leads the boycott, then the Spanish and labor groups fighting Coors will understand who their friends are and what it means to join together in fighting for common goal, ending discrimination. The point, we will also be building bridges with others who in turn will aid us in our fight for equal rights. The combined effort could then trigger other groups and communities to join the struggle. The time is here when all who are discriminated against in any way should join forces. It's a common battle. Coors beer might have a good taste to some people, but the company's policy have a very bitter taste. Warmly, Harvey Milk.
Hope is expecting something to happen that we haven't quite seen yet. Now, one of the things that is fantastic and something that we should always remember about Harvey Milk is that his life was a symbol of hope. He moved every day actually believing and having the audacity to believe that all of us could work together. No matter what our skin color was, no matter what our issue was, no matter how old we are, no matter how young we were, no matter if we agreed on whether how we live ourselves sexually was okay or not. He actually believed that if we could find the place of commonality, we could all mind the same things, even if we did not have the same mind. Now today, we are here to not just honor Harvey, but we are also here to find ways to let our hope shine. Maybe I don't look like you. Maybe I don't serve God like you. Maybe I'm not the same age as you. Maybe my struggles are just a little bit different than yours. But I promise, we are all hoping for change. We are all hoping that things will be better for us. We are all hoping that when we age, there will be a place for us in this world. We are all hoping that we will be accepted despite despite our differences. So get on board with me. Find something to hope about. Find something to love about.
How fitting it is that we're standing here at this statue, because on the front side of the statue it says Ola, but on the back of the statue it says a legacy of love. There is a passage of scripture in the Bible that says that we should love our neighbor as yourself. So who was Harvey Milk's neighbor? Harvey Milk's neighbor was anyone that he came in contact with that was discriminated against. He came in contact with the disenfranchised, the ethnic minorities. That was his neighbor. It didn't matter what they looked like, where they came from, how much of their education they had, what was their social economic status. He showed love. We are here to celebrate a man that left a legacy of love by the work that he did. He fought for the working mother. He fought to get daycare centers. He fought to get low-income housing. He fought for strong and safe neighborhoods because he did it out of love. He loved not only the LGBT community, but he loved a community of people, whoever he came in contact with, and he left that legacy for us to carry on. To love one another. We might not like each other, but we have to show love to one another. If we're going to be successful in what we're trying to do, it has to be done out of love.
Stump speech, 1978.
I have high hopes for the future of our cities. I have high hopes for the future of San Francisco. Granted its present problems, I have high hopes that the city of the future, our city of the future, will be one that will enrich the lives of all the people who live in it. Most plans for the city of the future involve money, lots of it. More money than any city could afford. But there are improvements that can be made in the city that don't necessarily involve any money at all, that require instead generous amounts of imagination and heart. Perhaps the most valuable resource of any city, and the one that's the most ignored, is the people who live in it, particularly the elderly. And presently, we treat our senior citizens like beer cans to be discarded after use. But seniors are the very same people who made this city. They're you and I, 20, 30, 40 years from now. I would like to see a complex we might call a people center. A complex that contains schools, hospitals, child care centers, and senior citizens. It might even have a center for minor criminal offenders. In such a center, our seniors could be employed in the hospital section to read to patients or as aides to the staff. Those who commit minor crimes might also be employed to work in various positions of the center. Perhaps the senior citizen would meet the inmate and discover that he's good at math. And why aren't you an accountant? Because I never went to school. And the next day, the inmate might enroll in the center school with the senior citizen as tutor. And someday, the inmate would leave the center for a decent job, and the senior citizen and society will have discovered that his own talents are worthwhile, that he qualifies for something more than no deposit, no return. And perhaps the child enrolled in the People's Center will have discovered that prisoners too have aspirations, that being old need not be a period of uselessness, that prisoners too have hopes and aspirations, and that life is really about people helping people. The great thing about imagination is that a little of it can go a long way.
Hello, I'm Miles Dean. I'm 17 years old, and I'm extremely grateful to be speaking to all of you today. Since none of you have any idea who I am.
You got it, bro.
I'm a senior at LDL High School. I'm an international baccalaureate diploma candidate, and right now I'm the president of my school's Gay Straight Alliance, and I'm the founding member of an organization called the Queer Youth Coalition, which connects GSAs together in order to create change. No more than anything, I'm an activist. I'm standing up for the rights of my peers, not unlike the way that Harvey Milk saw the problems in his community and decided to run for public office in order to ensure that those issues would be resolved. Now, you might be expecting me to deliver a well-composed speech about equality and how we all deserve the same rights as everyone else, as if I wasn't already speaking to an audience who didn't already believe that. You might think that I'm here to share a heartbreaking story about coming out and being bullied. And you might even believe that I'm here to make you feel good about where we are in this movement and praise you for all the work that you have done. Although important, I believe most everyone here is already familiar with these topics, so I'm going to be speaking about something else. Now you might be expecting, Tonight I'll be addressing a major flaw that exists within the LGBT community. You may not like what I have to say, but every ounce of it is true. You may not like hearing about problems, but some LGBT individuals are being adversely affected by the people that are supposed to be helping them. All young people, regardless of sexual orientation or identity, deserve a safe and supportive environment in which to achieve their full potential. That is a direct quote from Harvey Milk.
That's right.
Until we live in a perfect world where all parents accept their children no matter what, and every school is devoid of bullying and discrimination, the youth of our time will need access to resources, support, and guidance that they may not receive at home. It is the duty of the LGBT population to support its youth. However, that is not happening at the scale that youth need. You might have noticed my referring to what might be called the LGBT community as the LGBT population. I don't think the LGBT community deserves to have community in its name. This is because LGBT youth are so often neglected by the population that should be providing for them. Community, this is the definition. A feeling of fellowship with others as a result of sharing common attitudes, interests, and goals. We all strive to find people like us, and the adults have an entire portion of Dallas to call their own. In that slice of the pie, the majority of the shops and businesses are marketed to and created for individuals that are at least 18 years of age. I turn 18 in 27 days. You might think that I'm excited to finally be allowed into some of your venues, and I probably will be, but I won't forget about the years that I spent feeling like an outsider from the LGBT community. Once I'm allowed to participate, I will not actively block out that time when I struggled as a teen, like many of you have. I refuse to accept that I have to be a certain age to belong to a group of people that any person should belong to from the moment that they begin to assume an LGBT identity or even just support the movement. This should not be a rite of passage, and the pains that youth face at home and at school shouldn't be either. Especially considering that LGBT people cannot help that they are the way that they are, it is a travesty that the youth who are expected to carry on that message of acceptance and activism are put at such a disadvantage. If the LGBT community doesn't already sound like less of a community to you, hear me out on this. Most every other social movement I have researched has accommodated youth. The civil rights movement did not block young black people from participating in marches. The early feminist leaders surely wouldn't have blocked brave teenage girls from participating. Even most religions have programs for children and teens to participate in. Since when does a young black person have to be a certain age to be a part of the African American community? Since when do young people have to be of a certain age to adhere to a religion? Since when do young women have to be 18 years old to become fully fledged feminists? Not only is the LGBT community exclusive, but as a consequence, the youth who need the most help are left alone where they stand, usually without the support of any facet of the LGBT population. This needs to change. This all needs to change. For the sake of the future of the LGBT rights movement, the way that this community is constructed needs to change. Some of you might be, sorry, this is a long speech. But I also know that this population has achieved great things in the past and will continue to do so, but not without some major changes. The work that the LGBT movement has done to fight for the inclusion of GSAs in schools has been a phenomenal landmark. Allowing queer students to meet with one another at school is an invaluable gift. Teens are vulnerable. We cannot protect ourselves. And especially in Texas, the government that is supposed to ensure our safety is failing to do its job. It's okay. Depression, abuse, homelessness, suicidal thoughts, rape. These are all common detriments that LGBT youth experience much more often than their cisgender straight peers. Some of you might be thinking, you already have GSAs, isn't that enough for you for a community? The answer is complicated. GSAs at the high school level are often extremely difficult to start, and once past administration, maintaining a flawless record is nearly impossible. If a GSA breaks even a minor rule, especially in Texas, the school has the right to immediately disband the organization. In Texas, GSAs are often weakened by the immense pressure exerted by their hostile communities, especially considering that they might be a lone organization with maybe only 10 members. GSAs are defenseless in a place where no one seems to be supportive. I'm almost done, sorry. GSAs can only do so much to protect their own members, especially when meetings might only be held once a month. GSAs are a temporary and ineffective solution to the problems that teens face every day at home and at school. I was considering all of this during Drive with some friends, and when an idea struck me. Why not just connect all of the GSAs together and create an organization to support and advocate for our own rights? So I did. I emailed teachers at different schools, and we eventually had our first meeting. We've already had encouraging discussions that have led to plans to create a directory of possible hosts for recently homeless students, create online resources that are actually helpful for GSAs, and host events that are tailored specifically to LGBT youth. So here we are. Oh, shoot. I already did that. I'm sorry. So here we are celebrating one of our greatest activists to date, while simultaneously ignoring the people who are expected to carry on that legacy in the future. It's appalling how much inequality exists within a population that is constantly preaching a message of acceptance and tolerance. I don't want to be a part of a community that rejects me, and many of my peers already feel this way. This is a terrible detriment to the development of the future of this movement. I believe that most everyone here was once my age. Some of you, yeah, I know. I was supposed to find me, whatever. Okay. Some of you may have bolted from your homes the moment you could, never looking back. Oh, I can do that. Oh, sorry, I'm gonna skip that. Whether or not you like it, we exist. LGBT youth exist. It is time for all of us to grow up and take care of the people of our community that need us most. Yeah. Together, we can change this community into a real one that actually includes all LGBT individuals, not just ones that can legally gain access into a club or bar. If we cannot sustain the development of our own leaders, the goals that this LGBT community and this LGBT movement we're created with will not be accomplished. And as much as I highlight the major problems that youth ultimately face, I can only do so much to stop what is happening right next door in all the cities of this area. Queer youth are struggling everywhere. As the fight for marriage equality hopefully comes to a close, our next issue that we should fight for should not only be for the protection of our youth, but also for the education and support of the most valuable assets our community has to offer, even in conjunction with whatever we decide to pursue next. I believe that the tenets of equality and freedom of expression belong to everyone regardless of their age. And I believe that Harvey Milk would have had this same vision as well. Youth deserve a place here, and when that place does not exist, the LGBT rights movement is hurting itself. We need to create an LGBT community that Harvey Milk would be proud to know would be a part of his legacy. And in order to do that, we as a community need to stand up and take responsibility for the members of our community that need us most.
Address to the Joint International Longshoremen and Warehousemen's Union of San Francisco and to the Lafayette Club, September 1973.
A city, any city, can take several approaches to the future. Whichever approach it takes not only affects the citizens of today, but greatly affects the children of tomorrow, the citizens of tomorrow. San Francisco,
Dallas!
like any other major city, has that choice. And before we get too far down any route, we must make sure that it is a route we really want to travel. The present leadership seems to have taken the money route, bigness and wealth. Or our city can take the route of becoming the seat of learning. Then there is the route that for some reason no other major city has ever tried. That is the route that has little room for political payoffs, deals. That is the route that leaves little in the way of power politics. That is the route of making a city an exciting place for all to live. San Francisco,
Dallas!
can start right now to be number one. We can set an example so that others will follow. Hell, we can start right here, right now, overnight. We don't have to wait for budgets to be passed, surveys to be made, political wheelings and dealings. It takes no political deal to give people freedom. We can start immediately by rereading the Constitution of the United States. We can start immediately by no longer trying to legislate morality. The Constitution calls for the separation of church and state. Yet we find our legislatures end up spending millions of dollars and years of their lives trying to legislate morality. That money, that time, that energy should go into spending to make a place for everyone to live. If our legislatures do not like the Constitution, let them amend it. Let them scrap the Declaration of Independence, and in the meantime, let them go back to God with their morality and become ministers, true ministers. Let me have my tax money go for my protection and not for my prosecution. Let my minister and not some policeman worry about my moral life. Worry about gun control and not marijuana control. Worry about dental care for the elderly and not about hookers. Worry about child care centers and not about what books I read. I want to read. Worry about becoming a human being, not about how you can prevent others from enjoying their lives.
Thank you all so much for showing up to be here to represent someone absolutely phenomenal and celebrate his birthday. As a young gay boy growing up in Atkins, Texas with conservative Catholic parents, the idea that there was someone out there like me was a foreign concept. These feelings of depression and isolation that were present until I came out at about age 18. And it wasn't more than a month or so after coming out that I saw the movie Milk. And Harvey's message of hope sticks with me today. Harvey taught me that I can be myself, and that being honest about who I am can not only lead to change, but inspire others to be proud of who they are as well. To me, this is the very definition of hope. My name is Cody Sanders, and I'm a project coordinator with Resource Center Fuse, an HIV prevention nonprofit for gay, bisexual, and transgender men ages 18 to 29. Our apartment location at the Illume offers free condoms, lube, and testing in combination with social gatherings and events to improve the lives of young queer men. I believe that Harvey's vision of hope is the key to resilience. By holding on to the hope that Harvey gives us, we have the fuel needed to create change in our community. One much needed change today revolves around HIV/AIDS and its effects on our LGBT young adults. I'd like to share some research from the Dallas County Health and Human Services with you all today. Since 2003, there's been a 69% increase in those living with HIV/AIDS here in Dallas County alone. Additionally, 76% of new HIV diagnoses in Dallas County were men who have sex with men, and 60% were under the age of 35. These statistics, coupled with recent budgetary amendments that reallocate funds from HIV education to abstinence-only programs, thank you, Representative Spitzer, demonstrate the immediate need for education about safer sex practices in the state of Texas. By creating a safe space for men to talk and not feel judged, we foster a community of support, acceptance, and hope. I'd like to close with a quote from Harvey Milk that speaks to the current need in all of our communities to create a welcoming environment for members of our community. All young people, regardless of sexual orientation or identity, deserve a safe and supportive environment in which to achieve their full potential. And together, we gotta give them hope. Thank you.
Good evening. So I'm going to label my thoughts for the evening a handful of hope. Hope is an abstract concept rooted in faith and perseverance. However, hope has never looked the same from one person to the next. It's interesting that Harvey chose hope as his verbal platform. It is my belief that hope and faith are not synonymous. Unlike faith, which is traditionally rooted in a religious doctrine, hope grants believers the autonomy to apply it to practical areas in their daily walk. A handful of hope can go a long way. Today, hope is essentially a basic human need. Hope is the will to stand in the gap for your community in places where people like you and me have not always been welcome. Hope is the courage to walk through your human experience unapologetically as a whole person with the intention of encouraging others to live their truth. Hope gives fuel for the young man's dream to be the first in his family to build a career and a name for himself despite how his family feels about his sexual orientation. A handful of hope can go a long way. While hope is what drives the fight for marriage equality for some, that hope is what gives others the courage to live on and thrive after receiving a positive diagnosis for HIV. Where hope is the foundation for one community to fight to be recognized by their preferred pronouns, it is that same hope that another community needs to disclose all of who he or she is to friends and family. Although hope looks different for every person represented here today, one commonality we share is that with just a handful of hope, anything is possible.
All right,
Hello, beautiful people. It's so many beautiful people out here. Thank you guys for coming out tonight, even though it's all this rain and stuff. I'm glad that we could come together and celebrate Harvey's birthday and his message of hope. Yes, hope. For those who don't know me, I'm Jalinsky Brown, and everything that I do in my life is centered around finding peace, love, and happiness in every moment of my human experience and helping those around me do the same. And it definitely is a constant practice. We humans can be quite difficult, myself included. But nonetheless, I love me and I love everyone around me, y'all included. I love all y'all. Thanks for being here again. And I absolutely love connecting with people. And in this moment, I'm so happy that we could come together and connect via Harvey's message in his life. In helping organize tonight's event and gathering, I spent a great deal of time with Harvey's spirit over the last couple of weeks. And what a wonderful spirit it was and continues to be. And I'm so thankful for the courageous life of truth he lived and using his platform to do what needed to be done for all people to experience peace, love, and happiness. He is now one of my favorite inspirations, as I have many. Baird Rustin, Martin Luther King Jr., C.C. Cox, Raphael McDonald, and P.J. Moulton, just to name a few. And of course, all of you for showing up. Over the past couple of weeks, also working with Todd, and our friendship has grown, and I've developed quite an admiration in connecting with him and learning about his story. And I've learned so much from working together and bringing everyone together. And Todd, definitely I want to thank you for all that you do and inviting me to be a part of this.
Go Todd!
Yes, go Todd. Upon setting out on my spiritual journey to find new truths, I discovered that everything inside me exists inside me, that we are all connected. My capacity to help others find peace, love, and happiness is contingent upon the peace, love, and happiness that exists within me. And that capacity seems to grow every time I connect and share in experiences with the wonderful people around me. We all have our beliefs, morals, and problems, Whether you worship Buddha, God, Allah, follow Jesus, rally for same-sex marriage, or lower HIV transmissions, fight for inequality against injustice, discrimination, whether you identify as male, female, white, black, straight, gay, young, or old. As I see it, we're all one. I've come to understand that there are many truths that exist. Regardless of my personal feelings on any matter, I respect the differences. I enjoy connecting with the many people around me and continuously discovering new truths in the differences that exist and gaining a greater understanding of the world around me. Building on Harvey's message of hope, I one day hope to see a day in which people recognize that we are all one, and labels as a form of classification only leads to division that fuels conquest. We must push past our differences and embrace our commonalities if we are to come together and share peace, love, and happiness. I am all people and all people are me. And I want to leave you guys with this quote by Dasaika Ikeda, a spiritual leader and president of the Soka Gakkai International. When we possess the treasure of hope, it gives rise to other treasures too. Hope draws forth our inner potential and strength. Hope is a magical weapon that enables us to make our dreams come true. Thank you all for being here, and happy birthday, Harvey.
Private letter to President Jimmy Carter, April 12, 1978.
Dear President Carter, like most people in this country, I'm very concerned about human rights abroad and supportive of your efforts. I've worked in San Francisco towards effecting change in the South African government's racial policies and on human rights concerns, but I'm also deeply concerned about the millions of fellow gay women and gay men in this nation who have been under attack from those who believe only in myths and fears about gay people and who lack an understanding of just who we are and why we are. We are doing a strong educational campaign to dispel those myths and fears. We hope that soon the people of this nation and the world will judge gay people by our leaders and our elected officials rather than by our stereotypes, just like they do with blacks, Asians, Italians, and other groups. More to the point, the most active and politically aware group in San Francisco's large gay community is the San Francisco Gay Democratic Club. And we will be holding our annual dinner this year on June 23rd. We would like to have you be the honored guest of this year's event. And we are fully aware of your certainly crowded schedule and the political risks you might be taking by making such an appearance. But the other side of the coin is the role of leadership that you would be playing. Sooner or later, the massive gay population will indeed win their rights as other groups have already done. Sooner or later, the strife and anger and hatred and violence against gay people will be put aside. We seek a strong leadership role from someone. And no one is better suited for that than a president who has already taken a strong position on human rights across the world. Thank you in advance for your consideration. Warmly, Harvey Milk.
Hi, my name's Hardy Haberman. I'm from Dallas, but I represent an organization out of Washington, D.C. called the Woodhull Sexual Freedom Alliance. I urge you to get online and check them out. Somebody asked me, am I going to get political tonight? And obviously they didn't know very much about Harvey Milk, and they didn't know very much about me. Of course I am. Harvey made his mark on our world by engaging in the political system. He believed in politics and the power of political statements. Harvey once said, politics is theater. It doesn't matter if you win, you make a statement. You say, I'm here, pay attention to me. That is what we are doing right now. Whether you know it or not, we're making the same statement. I'm here, pay attention to me. In a few weeks, when the Supreme Court issues its decision about same-sex marriage, no matter what they rule. It will be because enough lesbians and gays, bisexuals, transgender, queer, intersex, and their allies have said, I'm here, pay attention to me. And as great as having the right to marry your partner, no matter what gender they are, might be a good thing, it is far from full equality. Yeah. For that, we will have to make sure our politicians, our elected officials, hear our voices when we say, I'm here, pay attention to me. And if we ever want to stop the insane shenanigans of our Texas legislature with its idiotic bills, like the one that would force Texans to police bathrooms, looking for people they might suspect of being transgender. And the measure of that, according to the bill, will be based on a chromosome analysis. I guess we will all have to learn to be patient while we wait for the results of the tests before being able to relieve ourselves. To stop that kind of rap, we have to make sure they hear us when we say, I'm here, pay attention to me. And if we are ever to be protected from discrimination on the job, strictly because of who we are and how we love, we have to shout out loud, I'm here, pay attention to me. If we are ever to have a generation of young people who will grow up without bullying and rejection because of their gender identity or their sexual orientation, then we will have to call out, I'm here, pay attention to me. It is that cry that will give us all the hope Harvey spoke of. It is that hope that right-wing politicians and pundits and preachers are trying to take away from us, and they might succeed. They might succeed in stealing that hope unless we stand up and we raise our voices and we say, I'm here, pay attention to me. As Harvey Milk said, hope will never be silent.
Public letter, September 22nd, 1978.
Recently, I faced Republican Senator John Briggs in a 2-hour debate. Every argument that Briggs used was based upon myths, fears, innuendos, and ignorance. He obviously knows little about the subject he's discussing and cares little for the truth. Senator Briggs is trying to constitutionalize bigotry. He will not be successful. His stance flies in the face of why America was formed, why the Constitution was written, and why it has been amended since to guarantee the rights of blacks, women, and others. One would like to think that most Americans are opposed to discrimination. But the fact is, in 1978,
2015,
it's perfectly acceptable to fire a gay person from his or her job for any reason, not any reason related to the job, but simply because he or she is gay. The fact is that in 1978,
2015,
it is perfectly acceptable for police in almost any city in this country to harass a person, not because that person has broken the law, but simply because he or she is gay. And in 1978,
2015,
it is perfectly acceptable for courts to take a child from a gay parent because people won't believe that a gay parent can love and take care of a child as well as any non-gay parent. Gay rights frighten people because it shatters the myths that have been perpetrated by this society ever since the days when homosexuals were set afire at the stakes in Salem with bundles of sticks called faggots. Tomorrow and Sunday, Hastings College of the Law will host a Gay Rights Under the Law Symposium. Hopefully someday soon conferences like this will not be necessary and society will accept its gay citizens with the same respect and tolerance it affords everyone else.
I'm reminded of everything you are, of people destined to reach to that place beyond the your struggle, I know your pain. Thank God the sunshine comes after rain. Though you gon' do you and I'm sure gon' do me. I know the truth is that we are the same. I came from a lot of something, been down to a lot of nothing. Feels damn good to be a big part of something. I'm reminded that we all are everything, yeah. I'm reminded every day there are some people who don't know how they gon' make a way. We ride on our highs and grow through our lows. We battle with the architect's mission system overgrown. I know your struggle, I know your pain. Thank God the sunshine comes after rain. Though you gon' do you and I'm sure gon' do me. I know the truth is that we are the same. I came from a lot of something, been down to a whole lot of nothing. Feels damn good to be a big part of something. I'm reminded that we all are everything. Y'all sing this with me. Hey, we are one. We are one. We are one. We are everything. Yeah. There you go. We are one. We are one. We are everything. Yeah. One more time, y'all. Come on. We are one. We are one. We are everything, yeah. Come on, y'all. We are one. We are one. We are everything, yeah. Hey, hey, yes, look. I know your struggle. I know your pain. Thank God the sunshine comes after rain. Though you gon' do you and I'm sure gon' do me. I know the truth is that we are the same. I came from a lot of something, been down to a whole lot of nothing. Feels damn good to be a big part of something. I'm reminded that we all are everything, yeah. Whoa,
Make some noise up in here! I have the privilege of finalizing all of our wonderful speeches that we've had. So if you will bear with me, since I was plastered on the flyer, I get a couple more minutes. No rain, please. My name is Carmarian D. Anderson, and I'm here to recruit you. All around the country, this is a quote from Harvey Milk, they are reading about him and the stories, they're reading about him and the stories does not center just because he's gay. But guess what? It is just because it was a gay person doing a job. Harvey Milk's job was to suggest hope in every area of equality. Question for you, what job are you doing for equality? Hope reminds us that we live in an interconnected world of a tangible and intangible society. Hope can motivate us as the LGBT community and not forget our allies. Let's not forget our allies. By redefining ourselves through the hope of exploration while entering and embracing and expanding views of possibilities for our future. We are the LGBT community. We need to wake up. And when we wake up, it provides the capacity for compassion within our community, kindness within our community, empathy within the LGBT community, and care.
and realize that these abilities are transforming this community through courage, hope, and love. Harvey says this quote, "I know that you cannot live on hope alone, but without hope, life is not worth living. And you, that's you too, baby. You as well, gotta give them hope." Giving them hope means to end the LGBT and youth at large homelessness, where kids have been kicked out of their families and homes because of their sexual orientation and gender expression, where these types of rejections have left our youth vulnerable to mental and physical health, and leading them to unfair criminalization of them being queer and trans youth. Gotta give them hope. To end violence against the LGBT community, the hate crimes, the hate violence, the brutal attacks and murders of our trans women, specifically of color. Gotta give them hope to end racial discrimination. Many of the issues that we're facing generally in the LGBT population are even worse for people of color. LGBT people of color are twice as likely to experience physical violence, which results in the highest percentage of homicide. Gotta give them hope to end immigration discrimination. There are a large percentage of undocumented immigrants that identify as the LGBT community, our family. Deportation and detention process for immigrants is particularly malicious for the LGBT folks, who are often subject to harassment, abuse, and to include murder. Gotta give them hope. For marriage equality, having the right to marry and be secure legally to a person to whom you love regardless of their sex. I wonder if a Muslim can marry a Christian and we support interracial marriage, or even if an older spouse marry a minor with the consent of an adult, why cannot the LGBT celebrate their love through marriage? We gotta give them hope for the LGBT healthcare. We demand gender-affirming healthcare, HIV and AIDS services and care, sexual health care, drug treatment care, preventative health care, chronic condition, LGBT aging care, health care emergency, health care and mental for our community. Healthcare is a human right, and we deserve it. Harvey quoted, come out, wherever you are. Wherever you are. I promise you, they already know. Maybe they know. Mama knows, Daddy knows, the cousins, the co-workers. They know, honey. They know the fish, the trade, and the trish. They know. But Harvey's message back then was for all gays, all bisexual, all lesbian, and all transgender individuals to come out and be free. Let someone know who you are, so that someone would know who we are. Not just because he wanted everyone to parade their pride of freedom, but he preached inclusivity. Come out wherever you are. My message for 2015, not just for your family, not just for your loved ones to accept you, not for the co-workers, not for your pastor, not even for the store clerk at Walgreens. You're coming out to create a blueprint for someone who's coming behind us. The blueprint you can share with your neighbors, your circle of friends, our youth, and the silent voices that we're speaking and advocating for who have no strength to speak for themselves. That need of empowerment is through our own truth, and that will assist society to become more even inclusive to everyone. With this blueprint, it will create acceptance. With this blueprint of your life will create the freedom, the reconciliation, the love, and as Harvey preached, the hope in the community. Finally, Harvey wanted society to know, no matter how hard they try, they cannot erase the words from the Declaration of Independence, that every person was created equal. No matter how hard they try, they can't chip those words off the base of the Statue of Liberty, that every person has yearned to be free. That's what America is. Now, since I am a clergy, we live in a society where we're no longer the Sauls, but our names have been changed to Paul. And what that means is that Saul was our Harvey Milk. And guess what? Today, we have been transformed to a new generation and a new community to continue the work and not be ashamed of who we are. We were created for this assignment. Come out wherever you are. Baby, I promise you they know. So I am Cremarian D. Anderson, and today I do recruit you. I recruit you to come out and be yourself, your authentic self, just how you were created. I recruit you to be the hands and feet of love to everyone, not basis on gender, color, ethnicity, sexual orientation, but be the hands and feet of love to everyone, even to those that don't understand us. I recruit you to be a messenger of hope, where collectively our hope will provide a world where we as the LGBT community will no longer face discrimination, will no longer face rejection or being ostracized, but a utopia world where hope of freedom, hope of acceptance, and hope of love will define us as human beings. Amen. As Harvey Milk message in our theme, let hope shine. Be the Harvey Milk in this generation. Be the hands and feet for change. Because when we come together in unity, we can move much faster. But it's hope that resides in us. And whomever sees us, give them a service with a smile. And remember that hope will always live. Love has the final word.
Public letter to council members, March 13th, 1978.
Dear council members, as the only openly gay elected official in California, I would like to share with you a few comments on what my election to the San Francisco Board of Supervisors means. For too many years, gay people have generally not taken any active part in the government. For many years, many gay people feeling disenfranchised have given up hope for a better tomorrow, hope that all will be right, hope that the system does in fact work. We have learned from the past that once any group of people who are excluded from the system are brought into it, they not only dispel the fears and myths about them, but also add greatly to the general welfare of society. Now, we have come to the test of our tolerance. I have found out since my election that gay people and other minorities across the nation see in my election a symbol of hope. That if I can achieve my position, that means that the system is now open to all people. Be they black,
brown, Asian,
the handicapped,
seniors,
or gays, the future will follow the path of prior history. And as that happens, more people be given hope. While one cannot live on hope alone, I feel strongly that without hope, life is not worth living.
I am the resurrection of Harvey Milk.
We are the resurrection of Harvey Milk.
You are the resurrection of Harvey Milk.
Hello, beautiful people again. I just had one last announcement to make before we march on and carry on with the night. Always remember, if you're sexually active, to update your HIV and STD status every 3 to 6 months, because it's very important. You can check out places like Nelson Thibodeau Resource Center, Nelson Thibodeau Clinic, which is right down here on the strip next to Italia Express, the good pizza and good tech. And if you need the number or anything, you can see me at some point. I can get you the information and get you linked to whatever resources you may need. Again, thank you all for coming out.
Thank you all for being here, for bearing the sprinkling. It did not turn into a downpour. We're so grateful. So now we're going to transition to the second part of our event. The third part will be a cake and speech and song party at TMC on the patio. But before that, we're going to do a march in honor and celebration of Harvey Milk. Now, other communities do this with candles or something like that, but this is Dallas. So we're going to try something a little different, and I am praying to the universe that this works out right. So we're going to look for the people with purple glow necklaces, and they have sparklers, okay? So everybody, just a second, get a sparkler. If you got $1 or $2 in your pocket to pass to them, to pay for them, that'd be awesome, but you don't have to. These are for everybody. Grab a sparkler. We're going to start the march by that Dallas North Tollway sign. We're going to line up. The people that have spoken are going to line up first, and when we feel like everybody's lined up, the people that are at the beginning of the march are going to have their sparklers lit. They're going to turn and light the peoples behind them, and we start marching. We got 2 minutes while our sparklers last to honor and celebrate who we are in the memory of Harvey Milk. So get a sparkler and get in line. Remember to stay close to the right side of the street and join us at TNC immediately after the march for cake and more speeches. Oh, and grab the balloons. Everybody grab the balloons, march with them. And make sure that you have a purple program. It has the words of the song that we're going to sing, which you all know, but we changed the words. So sparkler, line up, but don't light the sparklers yet. Don't light the sparklers, whoever that is, don't light them yet. So grab a sparkler, be prepared to have yours lit. In front of you, turn around, light the person's behind you, and then we start marching. So everybody get a sparkler. This is gonna work, right?
William, hopefully your favorite videographer from Two Hats Publishing. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, please leave comments below, or like, follow, or subscribe to us and get notices of all our videos. We love it, even when you call.